Very interesting video or a podcast, however you're listening. Not here. Lessons learned. 5 lessons learned after my first sale. To be very honest, whenever you do something for the first time, be it you kind of succeed in what you're doing, probably you fail in something you're doing, but it holds an experience. It holds some sort of wisdom in it. It holds some sort of lessons that stays for you for like forever probably. I went for my first ride way back in 2016, and I could just go for like 30 kilometers and came back. Then my second ride was 60 kilometers and came back. And the first time I went for 350 kilometers solo on a two-wheeler all the way from Chennai to Bangalore. It was a different experience altogether, and each experience, specifically the first experience, holds some sort of it kind of, the principles that you learn, the lessons that you learn, it's so deep, it goes just deep inside you that it stays for you for a very long time. Probably if you kind of learn like the wrong thing, you have to retweak it and work it kind of in a different way. But then if things have worked for you in a specific way, it stays for you for a long time. That was the point that I want to drive in for like last 1 minute. Thank you so much for joining this one video on a podcast. However you're listening, thank you so much for joining, and we are diving into 5 different things that I've learned, and those were like my lessons that I learned after the first sale, and I want you to learn it before the first sale, because these would be the similar things that you probably will experience. Point number 1. Point number 2, these would be the things that if you know even before the sale, you will be in a better position to probably make the sale with more confidence, with more conviction, and with more courage. In other words, like it will have a specific impact that you do. So point number 1 is the first thing that I've learned. The moment I got that first 12,000 from 4 different members of the mastermind that I had, the 4 different people, the first sale, I had 12,000 rupees in my bank accounts like this. And the first thing that I learned was there's a huge difference between salary that you receive and the business income that you receive. And this was a huge thing for me, the difference between salary and a business income. I'll give you an example. Not an example, I'll kind of go deep on this. Salary, typically when you get, you don't care about salary, and you work for the whole month just for the sake of that particular one salary, one paycheck. It has been my experience. I never used to give my 100% to any job that I worked on. It was my bad on my table. It's on me. But then I just used to work for that 2,500 real. Those days probably, I don't know what the conversion is right now, but then I used to just work for that and not even had internet in my system, and I just used to play games, watch series, work here and there, talk to people. I was not that work person, but then that salary was way different. And when I made my first business income, it boiled down to, okay, this is different. You now have to deliver the results that you have promised. It's a huge thing. Probably, I think if you're really great at what you're doing when you're probably an employee or when you're in an employment, probably that applies over there as well. I not had that experience. What experience I had was salary is way different for me specifically than a business income. Point number 2, that brings us directly to point number 2, was it gave me responsibility. It gave me a sense of responsibility. When I had that 12,000 in my bank account, I was like, dude, that's a big amount that Fazal has made in the last 3 years. That's like literally the first ever income that I made on the first scale. Second, it was a big number for me when I pitched it for the first time. I was expecting like 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees. 12,000 was way too much for me for the first income. I was so overwhelmed, and that overwhelming feeling led me to a different feeling. Point number 2 is responsibility. Pretty much made sure that now is the time that the relationship has to start. Even though we've been having conversation for like months, now the relationship starts. Now I need to fulfill the things that I have already promised. They have given their hard-earned money to me. They have made the transaction just like that. They did it just like that because they trusted you. You have that bond. They know that you're going to give them that one result that you have promised. That's the only reason that they have transacted their hard-earned money. They could have done that money. They could have given that money to someone else. Probably food, probably gas, probably electricity, probably land. They have got their priorities. They have got the children. They've got like the super duper priorities than you your services, your calls, and your courses, 100%. But they trusted you there. They thought that this is more important. They kind of brought you, your services, your products, and given that a priority. Forget about impulse buying. They made it the priority for the moment. So I became more responsible at that point of time. It's like, okay, relationship starts now. Point number 3 is a sense of accomplishment. As an entrepreneur, you get a sense of accomplishment. Am I blur? No, I'm not blur. Okay, great. It gave me a sense of accomplishment. Now, something to do with sense of accomplishment is so important, because if you don't have that sense of accomplishment when something happens, you are not probably going to repeat it for a long time. Because again, monkey mind starts to jumping in, you're like, not enough, like all stupid stuff, negative thoughts comes into picture. We are not talking about that. But when you feel that sense of accomplishment, it gives you a boost. It gives you something called some sort of confidence, and that confidence leads to another sale. And once you start having that sense of accomplishment, you feel like, okay, I was really great at that pitch. That's why that I got like a conversion, 2 conversion, 5 conversions, 10 conversions. Now with each conversion, with each income you get better at selling. Now since the money starts to come in, now you feel like now you want to do more of it. The more you do it, the more better you get. The more you do it, you are kind of practicing it over and over. The more you're practicing, again, you're getting better at it. The more better you get, the more money you're generating, and that's the sense of accomplishment over and over, over and over, over and over. It just keeps on stacking and stacking and stacking. That's why when you see successful people pitching their product or selling, they never hesitate, because they have done it so many times. It has got so deep into them. They have internalized so well that they're so comfortable doing it. For example, if you feel that you are not good enough, okay, fine, acknowledge you're not good enough, like you're very bad at doing something. Great, understood. That's the first step, acknowledgement. Then start practicing, and the more you practice it, the more you do it, the better you get. Point number 3. Point number 4 is I personally further felt I am now responsible, because I have been struggling for so long as an entrepreneur. And April I made my first sale in 2021. I started my journey 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 5 years of me being so patient and so persistent. Like, I am not going to quit what I'm doing and not going to the world that I left behind. And I just want to make this work so hard. And I just wanted to prove it to myself, prove it to everyone that's around me, prove it to my mentor. I just wanted to prove myself to everyone that was around, because expectations, right? You have your own expectations, people have expectations on you. You are like the big shot in the family, with like you are betting on everything. You're like the focus, you're like the attention. Because when you become an entrepreneur, you don't make a lot of money for a very long time. Probably not a long time, but then probably sometime for a couple of weeks or months, a couple of years as well. That's where the question starts, like, when are you making money? When are you going to launch? What did you say? Like, you said that you were going to make this amount of money. What happened? You started making those Hawa Mahals, and what happened to that Hawa Mahal? Is it just flying, or just launched or something like that? So things started to come up, and once you start making that money, you started to feel that, okay, I did it for the first ever time. I want to repeat it as many times as possible. That was just practicing around. Now with my first experience, I just got warmed up for the journey that I'm about to pave or grow or scale. Now it's just the beginning. Point number 5. Again, I think this point I can tweak it and join it and cross the 4 points. The 5th point says become more confident with each pitch. You become more confident. The more confident you become, the more conviction comes to your place. And it came a point where, to be very honest, even in my own career, probably a couple of months back, when I started my own pitch, what started to happen was I sold probably more than, I'm not going to give you a figure of it, but then I made the first initial 6 figures, without even having a presentation, without even having a product. I was just pitching my masterminds, the tables call I do, without having a presentation, without visual pictures, without visual learning, just verbal communication, and it came a point where I got so confident in what I was doing because I failed so many times, because I struggled so many times, and I started to see why I started to struggle. Okay, this is what you don't like to hear from me. Okay, I'm going to not talk about that next time. I'm going to probably tweak a little bit and give you a different pitch next time that we meet. So it boils down to practice. That brings us to the conclusion of my 5 different experiences that I really wanted to share with you. Probably you never made a sale before, probably you're just on that fence that you wanted to make a sale and stuff like that. Thank you so much for making this video topic and me a part of your day, or the podcast you're part of the day. I am going to see you in another exciting video, because a lot of things are being planned and I really want to push in so much of content for you, which will be so very beneficial for you. Thank you so much. I'm going to see you in another video.
يا صاحي كي تستريح وبث الدعاء